Just when I thought I was getting better at that, I managed to hit the wooden base of the bell. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the March 8th meeting of the Rotary Club of Brentwood. My name is Drew Rogers, and I have the privilege of serving as the, we can go with that, yeah. Thank you. I have the privilege of serving as the president of our club this year. We have a really energetic and full room, and we have a great program with Scott Ramsey, the president of the Nashville Sports Council, joining us today. A couple of things. I would like to invite Mark McFerrin to the podium to deliver the invocation, but that will be followed by Jack Massari, who will be offering our pledge and four-way test in his last meeting with us as a member of the Rotary Club of Brentwood. I was 19 years old when Jack became a member of this club. And he has served this club in so many ways, and we are grateful for all of his contributions. We will have happy bucks and people will be able to honor him that way. But I just wanted to say to start this, it's a great way for him to end his time as a member of our club, but we're grateful for everything that you've done for us. So thank you, Jack. Now with that, Mark McFerrin for the invocation.
You don't need to clap for me. Okay. Well done, Jack. How many years? A long time. So we came in about the same time. Wow. All right. We're going to pray. But before we do, some of you know my story and the fact that I can take a big breath and sneeze. Those are two things that heart patients enjoy doing. And so I'm just reminded, and I want to remind you, whether you've had health issues or not, you probably know somebody who has. Take a big breath and let it out. Come on. One more. There's a lot to that. And when you can't do that, it takes you places that we need to go sometimes to be reminded. So let's pray together. And as we do, I want to also start by saying who in your life needs prayer right now. And if you feel comfortable, say that name out loud. If you don't, just say it to yourself. It's family member, friend. Just take a minute and just say that name as a way of saying, Lord, please help this person. Say, Lord. Thank you. Lord, you're a God who hears things we say out loud and things we think. Thank you. And we're grateful for how we can come to you this day, on this Friday, in this room with a lot of friends that we've got a lot of history together. Thank you for what Rotary stands for in each one of our lives and how it's impacted us. And hopefully as a group, we've been able to impact so many others. We're grateful for breath. We're grateful for this day, the weather, the time of year, meeting our needs and probably a lot of our wants too. Thankful for friendships, for family, children, people that are hurt. We lift them up. Those that we know about, those that we don't. Thank you for how you've healed many of us. And we're grateful, Lord, for the breath we take, the food we get to eat, and we get to run with. And it's Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please join me, pledge to our.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a four-way test, things they say, do. First, second, third,
Will the bill of goodwill to veterans
and fourth.
will be beneficial to all concerned.
Certainly hope so. Thank you, Jack. And now I would like to ask Laura Troop to introduce our guests and visiting Rotarians. Laura.
Jennifer Bourne is out of town today, so I get the honor of introducing our guests. I'm going to start over here and let Banks Hickman introduce his guest, fellow employee.
Yeah, this is Thomas Dossett. He is our plant healthcare technician. really just for, collections. But really, no, he's here this weekend just to help me out, with some plantings and getting treatments done, and he just wanted to learn more about this.
Thank you. And I'll come over here to Jason and let,
Thanks. Blake Henson's my guest. He's with Educania and helps with schools in Nairobi. He's recently moved from St. Louis and with his wife and kids. They live in Creek Hall. So meet him, say hi right now.
and I'll let Jack introduce Miss Peggy Ray.
This is Peggy Ray. She's in real estate. She's a lifelong Brentwood, well, lifelong area representative. Thank you.
Welcome.
And Mark McFerrin has a guest today. Get my legwork in today.
My friend Brad Glosinger, he's in healthcare real estate development, and he's been in this town a long time. You might have seen him wearing black and white at a football game. He's got a long career also doing fun things, coaching, not coaching, reffing for the TSAA in high school football. So welcome, Brad.
Drew, you have some guests.
I have
with you
3
as well?
guests here. And Brad, please don't hold anything against me that I might have said in the past. First, Chris Dooney, if you'd like to stand, please. Chris is a proposed member. Chris and I are friends from another organization that we've been involved in through the Catholic Church. And so his membership proposal is in process, and I would encourage you to get to know Chris. So welcome, Chris. Stephen Sweeney. Stephen is a colleague of mine at First Horizon Bank, and we've worked together for the past 9 years, and has a unique interest in the Nashville Sports Council. With Scott being here, I wanted to introduce Stephen as a guest. So welcome, Stephen. And then lastly, Randy Drake. Randy is a former colleague of mine during his time at First Horizon Bank, although we didn't work together at the same time at the same bank, but was previously on the board of the Nashville Sports Council, knows Scott. He is also the spouse of my boss, so I have to be very, very careful in how I work with Randy. But thank you for being here, Randy.
We also have 3 other guests who are in the membership process. Pat Ryan is over here. Stand up again so everybody remembers you, Pat. Okay. And over here, Robin Zimmer in the membership process. Stand up, Robin. And Asan Ershad. All right. Is there anyone that I missed? Anyone? Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Laura. We do have some announcements to make. And so without further ado, I would like to invite Larry Kane to the podium to make a special announcement.
I want to take just a few minutes to talk about how to stack chairs after you set up. We take down the chairs this afternoon. So y'all, no, seriously, watch this video and I'll have a few comments about it.
For people facing cancer, often with standing between them and life-saving treatment is a ride to get there. Tonight, I'm ringing the bell.
Así va a ser, ¿no es cierto? ¿Claro que sí?
You can change someone's life in as little as 1 hour a week. Join the American Cancer Society
You got this.
to use your drive for good.
Thanks so much. Good job.
Volunteer at cancer.org/drive to help save lives.
Okay, so I became involved with the American Cancer Society a couple of months before Sue passed, and they were wonderful to us. They visited us. They came out and saw Sue. Since then, I've been in touch with them on a regular basis and finally feel like I can maybe help them out some. The thing they need is drivers for Road to Recovery, which is what you just saw about. You drive cancer patients to their doctor's visits. It could be chemo, it could be radiation, it could just be a regular doctor's visit. But evidently, there is a severe shortage in Nashville of drivers for people that need rides. Everybody doesn't have a big family to take them to these visits. It's totally a volunteer program. You pick when you want to drive, you can pick where you want to drive, and you can pick how often you want to drive. They have people that drive once a month, they have people that drive once a week, and they have people that drive every day. So that's totally up to you. It's all done online. It's weekdays only. And like I said, you choose when and where you want to go. It's something that you'll feel blessed to do, I think, and it certainly meets service above self, which of course is our mantra. So hopefully some of you will be interested in doing this because I volunteered to the Cancer Society to be a captain of the Brentwood Rotary Road to Recovery team. So my job is to do what I'm doing right now, and that's to try to get some interest from our members to help us with this. So I've got brochures at my table, and I can certainly answer, I think, some questions about it. So please see me afterwards. I won't be in the back stacking chairs. Stephen's going to do that for me. So I'll be over there with Layla. And so please come over if you'd like to be involved with this. It's a very worthwhile program. And I'd love to see us get involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. And that is a great way for us to live out our motto of service above self. So if you have any interest, please see Larry Kane after the meeting. Jennifer Ruane has an announcement about the upcoming casino night on March 23rd, and then one other brief announcement. So Jennifer. Perfect.
Here. So I'm standing in for Jennifer Bourne today. She's off at some kind of exotic location with her family, but casino night's coming up. March 23rd, it's going to be super fun. This year it is at the Jaguar Land Rover facility. So we're going to mix it up a little bit, but we're hoping to have a really big turnout. We are really wanting everyone to RSVP and pay on DACDB. So it's active and live right now. You should have gotten an email yesterday from Drew that links through. And if you have any questions or problem, please call us. We don't want it to be a barrier to come, but we really want to start getting used to using our new system. It's really user friendly and it makes everyone's job really easy if we aren't taking checks or doing sign up sheets and stuff. So anyways, this was a really fun night last year. We're hoping for a bigger turnout. So please mark your calendars, RSVP. If you're having any trouble with DACDB, you can call Drew, you can call Susie, and we will help you through the process. But come on out. This is going to be a good time. And the chips on your tables are props. Don't take them. They're not worth anything. If I don't get them back to my husband's box, he's going to come to Rotary next week with me. Get them there, just props. Okay, come on out and join us. It'll be fun.
There we go. Thank you, Jennifer. A couple more announcements, a few more announcements before we get to Happy Bucks and Michael Barrett. Major grant applications for the Brentwood Rotary Club Charitable Foundation are due today. Tom Carr sent out an email through DACDB. Remember, these are grants that are up to $10,000, so they are material. And we give out 3 of them, and those are the beneficiaries of the efforts that Larry puts together for our golf tournament. And so it's important that we get that done before the golf tournament, obviously. So please get those applications in. I believe the committee will be evaluating those soon, and announcements will be made about who receives those major grants coming shortly. Also, I've beaten this horse to death, but I'm going to keep doing it. Rotary Youth Leadership Academy applications are due April 1st. Sheila Cleveland is where those need to go. But if you know a rising 10th grader or 11th grader that would benefit from being a part of the Rotary Youth Leadership Academy that would be held this summer, please get those applications in. The club pays for that camp. And as the father of 4 children, free camp is good camp. Lastly, Pancake Day, April 20th. Laura Troop has done a lot of work aside from just introducing our guests and visiting Rotarians today. With the build of our new website. It's amazing. If you haven't gone to see it, go to brentwoodrotary.org and see it. But in addition to the work that she's done on the website, she has created these pieces, some of which you see on the table, but there is also an online version of that where that is going to be sent to you in the upcoming issue of Reflections. So if you are so inclined to make posts about Pancake Day or upcoming events on your Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, what am I missing? LinkedIn. You can go to this page and you can grab graphics and then you can actually put those on your posts. And that would be really, really awesome if we want to get people there, because we accept donations at the door, which go to the Brentwood Rotary Club Charitable Foundation, but we're also doing this in conjunction with Cars for Kids. There is an antique car show that will generate some appeal. But so please, when you get this in Reflections, don't just ignore the message. Go get some graphics that you can post exciting updates about the events that we're going to have. And Pancake Day is going to be held April 20th at Brentwood High School. So go do it. With that, Michael Barrett, Happy Bucks. John Helm. Oh, thank you. For volunteering, you should have received a link via email to sign up for your shifts. If you have had any issues getting that email, if you've not gotten it, see Jordan or Julie. We will send out another one to notify people that if you've not had an opportunity to sign up to volunteer for Pancake Day. Thank you, Julie. Yes. Thank you, Susie. Amen. All right, Michael. One more thing. For Pancake, 50 tickets per member on the tables. Please pick up your tickets, get them out, and a poster. What else have I missed?
All right, Mr. President, it's Friday. I know there's a room full of happy people. I'm going to Devin first. Devin.
I have two happy bucks today. I'm happy today to have been able to be a friend of Jack Masari. Thank you so much for always being so kind and helpful. Gonna miss you. I'm also happy today because I would love to invite anybody who's newer to the club and is looking for your way to get involved in a way that involves maybe a little more physical effort than brain power, but certainly some dedication, and that is the Pancake Procurement Committee. We are the people who get everything there that's consumable. So I have two awesome people on the committee with me. If you are looking for a way to get involved that really is behind the scenes and not front of house, come see me afterwards.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Allen.
There's $1. 50 cents of that is Devin's. So I just wanted to say I'm really happy about the Sports Council being here today, and I'm excited about the Music City Bowl next year. It's going to be a sellout. All those people from Alabama coming up at 6-5 or 6-6, talking about rebuilding.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
This buck is for Jack. Been great to know you, but most importantly, I am glad that you taught me how to make coffee for Pancake Day. And I'm hoping I can fill your shoes.
All right. George.
One for Jack. What a great friend. I'm going to miss you greatly.
If I was Woody Kane, I'm not Woody Kane, but this would not be just happy bucks. This right here would be a salute to Jack. Obviously, it has been. And Woody would have this basket running over. I promise you. Right?
Jack, gonna miss you. Appreciate all you've done for the club and city of Brentwood. But I'm going to share a little story. We've got a lot of new members and a lot of proposed new members, and that's a really good thing and a good blessing for the club. When I was a very new member, about 24, 25 years ago, you and I worked parking lot for the rodeo, the Franklin Rodeo at the Ag Center when it was almost a brand new building. And if I remember right, we stood in the parking lot with lots of liquid sunshine. And we talked about your military service, Vietnam and serving our country, and talked about life and work. But I will tell you, it was a very important part of me being able to stay in Rotary, because with all the obligations at that time of being a dad of young children and trying to get here and there and working about 70, 80 hours a week in a small business and all that, Rotary sometimes would have been, but that meant a whole lot to me. And so I'm also going to challenge all of our newer members and those who are proposed, get involved. The relationships are wonderful. And really appreciate it, Jack.
Very good.
Amen, Ray. Listen, because it's called Happy Bucks, I'm seeing a 10 and a 20 in here. So,
Hey, Jack, tell you, yeah, and we go way back. 20 years ago, you made my first website for real estate. I think I may have been the first agent in Brentwood with the website, thanks to you. And our relationship in Rotary has just got better, and I'm gonna miss you and your wife, Mark. Appreciate you.
First off, let me acknowledge today is International Women's Day. So my $1 is tribute to the many, many women who enrich this club and the thousands of women that enrich Rotary International. The second $1, I had announced last week that I probably would not be at the Pancake Day. So I'm hunting for clowns. I'm still hunting for clowns. We're supposed to be in Egypt, but my wife is changing the plan so that I can be here. So I might be here at the Pancake Day.
Nice.
And if I had one more $1, I would have made up something good to say about Jack's.
Okay, my money's coming from Drew on account. I don't have anything with
I got
it.
you. I got you, Becky.
No, just wanted to, happy day. May the 3rd, we're going to have a Derby Day at Canterfield of Franklin. We're going to be doing a fundraiser for Alzheimer's Tennessee. Many of you have been affected by that through family members, whatever. So we're going to really pull it in and try to raise that money. What we're asking for is if you have any type of sports memorabilia you would like to donate towards that we can use for our silent auction that we're going to do to raise those funds. We're trying to get at least $5,000 for Alzheimer's Tennessee for that. So anything that you can do to help us, and please come. We're going to have mint juleps and bourbon tasting and all sorts of things that are going to be available there. So please come and participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky.
Mr. President-elect.
Jack, this is for a 25-year friendship. Appreciate everything you've done. And just let you know, I'm calling a board meeting after, and we're not allowing you to go.
All right, I PayPal'd you. Jack, I just want to say that it's been a pleasure to know you, and I appreciate you paving the way for electric car owners in this club. You're going to leave. Am I the only one now after Jack leaves? Has anybody else joined the?
I believe so.
Betsy has one. There we go. All right, we don't need you anymore. Go ahead. No. Also, Dr. Ming Wang, who's a friend of this club, he made a movie out of his autobiography called Sight. It's been mentioned here before. Many of you have seen it. A lot of you have seen it at my house. It is getting wide release on May 24th, Memorial Day weekend, May 24th. Oh, after, okay. And I hope you all come, and I hope you all will go to angel.com/site. The Angel is the group that's promoting and distributing the movie. And if you go now and buy tickets, they're like $5 instead of 15 or whatever we pay at the movie theater anymore. And it's a really important part of getting an independent movie going is ticket pre-sales, like vital.
So if you want to support the movie and get a deeply discounted ticket, angel.com/site. And last but not least, 2 unofficial Rotary Club events coming up March 23rd. Banks and I are doing Arrington Vineyards. So if you want to go to Arrington Vineyards, please contact one of the 2 of us. And then when's our thing at Thistle? The 19th, March 19th. I'm on spring break, so it's out of my head. March 19th, Thistle Farms. Obviously, Susie's putting that together. Thank you.
That will be $30.
I just wanted to say and recognize and say congratulations to Jeff Hughes. I think that's a wonderful that he is now
Hey,
the share.
Jared, you got anything to add? Jared was going to recognize him as well. So. Oh. Where?
Yes, I'd like to recognize one of our alumni, Jeff Hughes, who just got elected. That's what I was going to do. You stole it from me.
you stole it. Well, you can still give your money.
Layla,
Um,
teach him to be quick.
You did a great job, Mike. Well done.
Who else? Who I forgot?
I think you're good.
That's it. Hey,
Yeah, there you
thank
go.
Thank
Hey,
you.
well done. Thank you, Mike. And thank you all for the recognition of Jack. It's a sad day, but we're happy for him and what the future may hold for him and his family. With that, I'd like to ask Burt Bradford to come to the podium and introduce our speaker.
Well, today our speaker is Scott Ramsey, President, CEO of the Nashville Sports Council and President, CEO of the Music City Bowl. Now, Scott has this long bio, but due to time constraints, everything you have fun to do in Nashville that deals with sports, he's probably responsible for. So if you'll welcome Scott Ramsey.
Thanks for having me. It's always fun to come out and talk about what we do at the Sports Council, but more importantly about our city. And sports is always a fun topic on a Friday, and look forward to talking to you a little bit. I guess I'm one of the more blessed people in the city, having been here since 1995 and being able to be a part of what our city has grown into from a sports and entertainment standpoint. And we're really excited about the future as well. So really what I thought I would do, given the time here to make sure we get you out on time, is I thought I'd give you a little background on the Sports Council, a little bit about kind of what we're doing right now, and then obviously give you a little bit of a tease on hopefully what's coming in the future and the new stadium and all that, and then hopefully take some questions, because I know there's a lot of things that people like to talk about. So a little background. In the 90s, cities across the country really started kind of figuring out that sports events were great business. They were great tourism impacts. They brought a lot of media to town. They brought a lot of people to town that normally just had a 3-hour game to attend, but could spend money elsewhere in the city, and then they'd pack up and go home and come back again. So cities at that time also were really starting to invest in facilities. You started to see the 80s and 90s started to shift to where cities started investing into arenas and stadiums and baseball parks. And to do that, they felt like more than 41 NHL, 41 NBA, 81 baseball games, 10 NFL games, they needed to utilize those facilities more often. And our kind of organization, Sports Council, Sports Commission, Sports Corporation, started kind of blooming in and started competing to recruit Super Bowls and championship games and Final Fours and conference events and AAU events and those kind of things around the country. So it became very competitive, very similar to a tourism industry trying to recruit a major convention to a city. So Nashville got in the game during Mayor Bredesen's tenure in the mid-90s. At the time, we had just broken ground on what's now Bridgestone Arena, and really started figuring out that sports could also parallel, obviously, with the music industry and entertainment industry to bring events and fill up our new arena at that time. It also was really kind of part of something that I really kind of reflect back on, and obviously moved here in 95 to be part of this organization. But Mayor Bredesen consistently said at that time that he felt like to be a great city, you had to have a great downtown. And those of you, I look around the room that were here when I moved here in 95 and probably before that, I don't think you could classify downtown as a great downtown at that point in time. So his investment there obviously extended beyond sports. Everybody knows he wasn't a big sports fan, but I think he saw what it could deliver along with a new library, a new symphony center, a country music hall of fame, new hotels, cleaning up Broadway. It was really part of a bigger vision. But from our standpoint, it opened up a lot of doors for us to go chase events. And it was the basketball events. It was in SEC basketball, which we have next week. We have NCAA basketball. Obviously, it was a chance to kind of recruit a tenant at that time. NHL was expanding, NBA was not. Obviously, everybody knows that story, but we got the expansion bid. It paralleled also when Houston was ready to leave, or the Oilers were ready to leave Houston, and we're able to kind of land a new stadium. Now we've got two facilities in the late 90s. We went from 0 to 2 and opened up a lot of doors for organizations. So from our standpoint, that was kind of precipitous. Behind the scenes, the city also was kind of partnering with the Chamber of Commerce at that time. And the chamber was really kind of starting to develop very industry-specific organizations. We had the Sports Council, Healthcare Council, Downtown Partnership, Tech Council, Economic Development. So we had a lot of entities that was part of the chamber umbrella at that time that was operating as kind of individual entities, but yet we were really collaborative in thinking about where the city's going with all this infusion of new opportunity, mostly around the downtown opportunity. So in the mid 2000s, we all kind of spun out to be an individual standalone nonprofit, but we really maintain a collaboration that really is the backbone of our success. So anytime I get the opportunity to represent Nashville and bid and chase events here, that's probably the first thing I talk about. One, we can create a campus kind of setting for an event, which you'll see next week at the SEC tournament. That's unlike any other city in the country. Walkable entertainment, hotels, arena, in and out, a campus kind of energy that really delivers an incredible atmosphere. Secondly, the collaboration. Public sector, private sector, the teams, the arenas, our volunteers, our corporate entities, all support everything, maybe as well as any city in the country. And I know a lot of people can say that, but I think we've delivered on that in 25 plus years because of the events that we've hosted, people have been clamoring to come back, and we're really seeing that now. The other thing I would say from the early years was we did anything and everything we could. It's really an industry, probably not unlike many of yours, that reputation and execution and experience really delivered the future business. And we knew that if we brought events in, we could do an event and they could leave here wanting to come back. Now, in our world, SEC basketball first came here in 2001. We couldn't bid on that event again until 2003, and the next time we hosted was 2006. So while they wanted to come back, there's a natural ebb and flow to that bid process. But once they kept coming back in 10 and 13, and in 15, we were able to do a long-term deal. We've got the event now booked through 2035 and the men's tournament here, and obviously with the expansion of college athletics, Texas, Oklahoma roll in next year. So that kind of continuity in our city has really proven to be our major success factor. So again, I'm kind of fast forwarding here a little bit so we can take questions, but where are we now? From our standpoint, there's a couple key distinctions that I always try to make. There's the Metro Sports Authority, which was in the 90s, the state of Tennessee created a piece of legislation that allowed cities in the state to create a sports authority to issue bonds to create sporting venues. So the Sports Authority is a mayor-appointed board. It's managed by two staff folks, Monica and Brandon, who really serve as landlords for the city-owned facilities. And they oversee the lease with the Titans and the Preds and the Sounds, SC. They manage those facilities from a capital standpoint. The Sports Council, we're charged with kind of bringing in events that help partner with the regular season and really supplement the days that we're open. And today, in 2024, there's a lot less open days at the Bridgestone Arena to go out and bid on events than there was in 2000. But that's kind of been our role. How can we kind of bring events in that help maximize the use of our facility in our city and work with the teams in doing that? So right now, I would say kind of as we look at our annual window, And we're typically looking at a 4 to 5 year kind of event window of where's open, what can we bid, what's available to bid on, and what can we bring in. We have the SC basketball now locked in March. We have the St. Jude Rock and Roll Marathon that we do every late April, which is a great event. And speaking of volunteers, we always look for clubs like this to help. We need 2,000 volunteers in 3 days to hand out water on the course or help register runners in the convention center. So we help organize that, which is a great event. In the summer, the last 3 years, we've had the Music City Grand Prix, which is obviously going through some changes, and we can talk about that a little later. And then certainly the Music City Bowl, we just finished our 26th year in late December. So again, backing up to the strategy was, can sports kind of also help fill in the slow tourism times? Late December, Christmas and New Year's, when we started the bowl, which we thought was a business stretch, but the mayor says, hey, we got a brand new stadium. We got tumbleweeds rolling downtown between Christmas and New Year's. So we can bring a few thousand people in and put us on ESPN for 3 hours, a win's a win. Well, we've averaged almost 60,000 for about the last 12 years. Obviously, some things are changing there. But it's really way exceeded expectations on the business front. Now we have a New Year's Eve event that it leads into for a couple 100,000 people in 5 hours on CBS. So we've taken a week that was the slowest piece of business tourism-wise for the year and turned it into probably the second busiest behind CMA Fest. March, April were slow several years ago. They're not slow anymore from a tourism standpoint, but basketball kind of fit that bill. So it was hand in glove kind of planning strategy of where we are now, where we're going in the future. Obviously, the new stadium's going to open up doors to some of the largest sporting and entertainment events in the country, and in some cases, when we talk Super Bowl, the world. We weren't able to pursue those events because of facility, because of weather in the past. 10 years ago, because of other facilities. So, for example, and we were talking about the table earlier, just kind of an example here would be college football national championship game. That organization is run by the 10 commissioners of Division I. They bid out the championship game to date in typically a 4 to 5 year kind of window. So they will go to cities. Let's say come to Nashville, say, hey, we need a facility, stadium. Now we have it covered. We're kind of weatherproofed. They don't want the national championship game to be dictated by weather. Right, wrong, and different, that's just their position. So before, even though we had everything else in place, our weather in an open air stadium just wasn't going to fit what they wanted to do when they had options in Dallas and New Orleans and wherever. So we have a facility. We need the convention center for 12 days free for our fan fest. So clear out your conventions. We need 10 to 12,000 hotel rooms in the downtown area. Do we have those? We do now. We didn't before. We need you to create an infrastructure, a security plan, a hospitality plan, a corporate plan. We need you to create a media village around the stadium. So now you start thinking about how you can coordinate all those entities. So we got to take the convention center, we got to take the hotel and the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We now start thinking about the East Bank. Well, we've got the Titan Stadium on a timeline, but you've got the Fallon Group working with the city trying to figure out phase 1 of that new East Bank development. So you don't want the Super Bowl or a CFP game or a Final Four to come and you've got cranes, mud, construction zone to where you're going to try to put some infrastructure, which are pretty high profile with a couple thousand media or corporate hospitality or fans walking over the bridge into the stadium. So you're trying to line all of those with the years that kind of fit with the rotation with the rights holder. So I think as you look forward, do we feel very positive about Super Bowls, championship games, Final Fours, WrestleManias, whatever? Yes. What years? That's a little bit of a tougher question because you've got to kind of fit the puzzle with a lot of people around the table to make sure you can align not only resources locally, but how's that fit in with the competitive environment around the country of where they want to kind of rotate the game geographically. So the future is exciting, no doubt about it. It's tougher from our side because we've got to look farther out to make sure we have everything in place to go get those events where 15 years ago, man, we could fill it. I mean, we could take anything, everything at any point in time. Now we've really got to kind of think about what's available in our city to be able to kind of go out and chase those events. But it's been a great first 25 years, and I think the next 20 is just going to be incredibly exciting if you're a sports and entertainment fan to attend and see what's going to go in our city. And the way to showcase our city is really positive from what we do. So again, they said 10 till, so I got 5 minutes for questions. So we'll roll. And I know baseball's coming. So who's going to hit baseball first here? There you go. Larry's going to hit baseball.
Scott, how does the new convention center affect you?
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't be able to have the NHL All-Star game because we had to have that for a fan fest. We wouldn't have been able to have probably the draft because we needed that for a backup for a lot of things. At the time, we wouldn't have been able to get a long-term deal with the SEC basketball tournament because they had a fan fest event. They've since kind of dispersed that because we're finding out fans are kind of using Broadway as a fan fest. And so it was kind of throwing good money after bad to some degree. But yeah, going forward, it's a necessary element to Super Bowl championship games, everything. It was a deal. It was funny because when we were bidding on the women's Final Four for 2014, we were bidding in 2008. And Mayor Dean at that time stood in front of the NCAA committee and says, it will be open by 14. And I remember our committee, which is made up of leaders in the city, everybody went, oh, because it was going to be tight. And it was open and kind of got us rolling on that. So it was a necessary component to major events. Oh, we've been extended. I got an extension.
Well, Scott, you opened it up. I was going to ask you about baseball and then what if on a new stadium if it goes there?
Yeah, I was trying to kind of fast forward some stuff. And it's a good time too to talk about soccer. I think what John Ingram and Nashville SC and Ian Ayers done at SC has just been spectacular. And I'll do a little bit of comparison there because I do think as you look, sometimes if you look at the business piece of it, Larry, I think there's a couple easy parallels to SC. When MLS was looking for expansion, we were one of 12 cities in the initial phases. And until John Ingram really stepped up and really set into that room of billionaires, of owners, and was able to legitimize Nashville's plan, we were really kind of way long shot. And we really moved up in the list, and obviously we were selected. I think that's very similar where baseball is now. I think Dave Stewart and John Lohr and everybody's done a great job at the grassroots level, but probably until you see that lead owner step up that can write the $2 billion expansion fee check to MLB, and then also have a stadium plan and execute, is probably kind of in that same pattern as MLS was. But yeah, they've done a great job kind of creating that grassroots plan. But I still think, and you heard Commissioner Manfred say that he's hoping to have an expansion plan by the time he retires in 5 years. So that feels like kind of the right time frame for us to kind of see where the city is going and where the investment's going to come from. Because I think Mayor O'Connell's been very forward about not only during his election, but since he's been elected, that right now we're focusing in on the East Bank and the execution there, and to spend another couple billion with city funds, whether it's bonds or whatever, is probably not in the short term. So it'll be interesting to see how the business plan kind of comes together on that.
What's your relationship? A couple of weeks ago, maybe months, we had the Nashville Convention and Visitors Bureau here. How do you guys work in tandem to
every day, pretty much. I would say, especially now as the event's getting larger and larger, them being kind of the head tourism organization that has the immediate relationships with the hotels, convention center, that schedule that they're out trying to recruit conventions for. We go back to the CFP. I mean, we don't know the dates yet, but let's say this year, the championships games played on January 20th. We've got to have the convention center from the 10th to the 21st. Well, he may have a citywide convention that was booked 10 years ago that is going to cost millions to relocate or reschedule. Do we want to do that? So the CVB can immediately kind of work through, and that's why I'd be very hesitant always saying years of where we're targeting certain big events, because you may have to shuffle around, make sure you've got all that infrastructure there. Also, the way it's set up from a tourism standpoint, that's an easy funnel of some funding that can go to pay for all the things that you're expected to pay for or expected to pay for as a host city. for example, you probably end up paying for $15 to $20 million of things without any assets to host a Final Four or CFP, 50 to 70 million probably for a Super Bowl. And you don't get anything. You don't get signage, you get marketing, you get media, you don't get tickets. You just got to raise it because we're going to bring 200 million in spending to you. We're going to give you 10x. It's tough. So to coordinate all that now, the bigger events need the CVB, but we've always worked really close with them for 28 years, to be honest with you. Yeah, the Music City Grand Prix, obviously, IndyCar downtown, first 3 years were great success. The construction of the stadium has taken away the paddock area and all that area around the stadium. Originally, the plan was to come downtown, down Broadway. Scott Borchetta has now kind of taken over the organization. I think financially, there was a little bit of a stretch there for the first 3 years from the plan. So now I think they're going to Super Speedway for the race. They're going to try to implement some fan activities downtown during that week of September, and we'll see how that kind of goes while the stadium is being constructed. Yeah, it's in September. Yeah, it's the IndyCar Series final race, actually. And the other thing, we haven't talked a lot about. Now I've got a little bit more time. I'll dive into the Music City Bowl. We've kind of got two parallel nonprofits, and we've got one staff, and we've got a small staff that serves kind of both organizations. Back to the 90s with Mayor Bredesen, we started the Sports Council. At the time, which is obviously a long time ago in a lot of ways, the NCAA mandated that you create a community nonprofit to run a bowl game and to apply for one. We did. And we started the first game actually at Vanderbilt in 1998 as the stadium that's being built. So we have a separate nonprofit entity with the bowl. The difference in my two organizations are the Sports Council, think of it as the chamber where we broke out of. We have corporate members, individual members, and whatever we can kind of glean off of some events. But typically we're hosting other people's events that have the revenue generation rights. And they're asking us to kind of coordinate the city assets to host those events. That would be next week with the SEC tournament. On the bowl side, we proactively create contracts with the two conferences to provide a team. In our case, SEC Big Ten currently. So we have to we've got a 6-year agreement to pay them, whether we make $1 or make 20 million. We're going to pay them $3.5 million each. They don't care if we raise it or not raise it. We're going to send you a team, and here's how we're going to send you a team. So we've got assets there to go raise that revenue against. So as college football changes, we're all nationally in a real kind of back burner, waiting to see what the commissioners decide about the future format. That opens up a lot of doors for us in Nashville. Can we compete for the CFP? Maybe. Maybe they don't allow us to compete for it. Can we compete for first round? Well, right now they're going to be on campus. They may change it, may not change it. Can we bid on championship game? Yes, but we don't know when. So there's a lot of kind of moving parts there. For the bowl, we will have 2 more years remaining on our deal. We've got everything lined up there with our ESPN deal, our conference deals, our sponsor deal, our stadium lease agreement. So we're operating that entity in kind of a real flex right now, waiting on kind of what that next iteration is going to be. But we're similar to every bowl in the country. So what does postseason look like? And everybody's got their opinions of what they want it to look like. But more importantly, from a business standpoint, where can we insert Nashville in the process to best maximize what we have to bring to the city? We just don't know what those options are yet. And unfortunately, we can't influence or dictate the decisions made in the commissioner's room right now. So we're in a wait and see on that one. But certainly we feel like we're in a much better position than 90% of the other cities, given our geographical location, our reputation as a host city, and now with a new facility coming. So that's as fast as I could get through that.
So sorry about that, guys. The rumor, and I don't know if this is a question that you can really answer. The rumor has been that Nashville has the SEC basketball tournament, Atlanta has the football championship, Birmingham has the baseball tournament, and that those were kind of, even though they're under contract through a certain year, that's just kind of the way that it is. So I guess my question is two-parted. One, when would when would Nashville bid on the SEC basketball tournament again, and how likely would it be once the new Nissan Stadium is built, and or whatever happens with baseball, that the football championship and the baseball tournament could be in Nashville?
Yeah, sure. So, 2017, I think it was, we cut the deal, to host the basketball tournament through 2035, and we got that under lock. So the next, 12 years will be in Nashville for men's basketball tournament. And that, I don't want to overlook the commitment people made to make that happen, for Nashville, and the Predators being one. They were willing to go on the road, and you'll see that for the next 8 days, every year for 15 years, to allow the city to host an event that fills up the arena and fills up the city for 5 days in March and creates 100 hours of television coverage. So that's a great partnership give on there, given you've got 3 weeks left in the regular season, and every year we're going to be trying to make the playoffs, but we got to go on the road for 8 days, guaranteed. So that was a huge collaborative partnership to make that event happen. As far as football, I know they just extended with Atlanta through 2030. And again, the conference championship games go into that CFP question. What's that going to look like? And I'm going to put that in the postseason, who knows category. So, but technically it would be probably 2030 and beyond that football would open. Baseball, we chased baseball hard in the last time. We just couldn't pull it off. Given the nature of what the SEC wants to do with their conference baseball tournament, that area in Hoover with the RV park, and given that it's an old football stadium that's turned into baseball, it is just a huge advantage facility wise. We really wanted First Horizon to kind of do it. And I'll give you one little example. One of the things two examples that we were challenged with there. One, where we put the RVs. And I'm not talking, if you haven't been to their baseball tournament, I'm not talking about a couple parked down the street. I'm talking about hundreds between LSU and Mississippi State and they are a RV traveling baseball crowd. And it was power and it was hookups and it was everything RV needs. So we were trying to kind of find some parks, bring them in for the day, put them at the stadium, shuttle people. So that was a real tough one to pitch. The other one was they needed 100 seats in the press box. Currently, right now, the Sounds have 3. So we were trying to take seating out to create a press box, which would reduce seating, which they had in Hoover. It was just a tough fit facility-wise. So we made a pitch, didn't get it. I don't know how long their deal goes there, but it would probably fit into Larry's question on baseball. If something down the road, facility-wise, that can match their expectations would allow us to kind of reopen that discussion.
Right here. So I've been keeping up with it here recently, but are y'all involved in the Fairgrounds Speedway with Bristol?
Not really. That's kind of in the mayor's office right now, to be honest with you, in the Fairgrounds board. You know, our role would be whatever kind of comes of that. Could we help kind of bring events that would supplement the schedule? That's kind of been our role with the facilities. You know, and you know, we talked baseball earlier. In hypothetical world, we build a new baseball stadium. We would probably be the ones kind of pulling everybody in of everything you would need to kind of supplement the regular season. Could we get the All-Star game? Could we do a college event there? Could we do SEC? That kind of stuff. So we typically haven't inserted ourselves into the ownership, funding, capital kind of issues. We kind of stayed in our lane on that one. And that's kind of been a nice kind of way of kind of thinking about it.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump back to
Yeah, I don't know
baseball.
if Alabama's coming or not.
Roll Tide, roll Tide. Going back to the baseball, as I understood, we were down to 4. There were 4 cities: Austin, Oakland, and Nashville, Charlotte. And then Oakland is now, what's going on there? They're going to Vegas, and that deal's kind of off the table. And then Austin is kind of the front runner. Now we're down to Charlotte and Nashville, right? Is that, yeah.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for committing to that.
Sure.
The other thing is,
I'm with you.
yeah, am I correct on the committee? I saw the search committee or whatever they call it, the baseball committee. They had Condoleezza Rice and Tony La Russa, and in addition to Dave Stewart, and
Yeah.
it's pretty powerful.
Yeah,
group.
they do. That's what I said. They've really done a good job about building the foundation, waiting on the lead owner to kind of, emerge.
Right.
And then most recently, they did hire a company that has a great reputation nationally for, site assessment, called Mortensen I believe they're out of Minneapolis, and they've
Right.
done a lot of sports and entertainment, consulting work that they're supposedly going to assess, and I don't know a timeline on that, anywhere from 5 to 6 potential sites for a park, and make a report back to the group. That's pretty much all I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
I
was
can
my other
speculate,
question,
but
was the location.
yeah.
Um,
And I did see in the Stars kind of release was they were looking at 3 to 4 sites in Davidson, 1 in Williamson, and 1 in Rutherford initially, and they could
Right.
expand that to report back on feasibility studies.
Okay, right.
Thanks. Okay.
Scott, thank you so much for being here and sharing all that you shared with us today. We actually have a gift that we would like to give you. We present it for all of our guests that come and speak to us. It's a pin that has our club's name on it. And so we hope that you will enjoy that and remember your time with us. But we would love to have you back again someday so that maybe when we have a new stadium, we can learn about when the SEC baseball tournament's going to come here. The first thing that we would ask you to do with that pen would be to sign this book, which is a book that we read to elementary school students in the Williamson County community. We would ask that you sign it and maybe put CEO of Nashville Sports Council so that we can tell the children what you did and what you talked about when you came here. Great.
Do I have to read it first?
No, there's probably not enough time for that. Because if you do have some interest in talking to Scott afterwards, maybe you can stick around for a few minutes. That would be great. Scott, thank you again for being here. Tables and chairs. Stephen is going to be coordinating the stacking of chairs. So that's a big job, stacks of 8. And then if you can stick around and help get tables to the closet, that would be wonderful. Sign up for casino night and sign up to register for volunteer for Pancake Day. See Jordan and Julie if you have any issues or questions about that. Thomas, Blake, Randy, Stephen, Chris, Peggy, Brad, Pat, Robin, Asan, thank you for being here. I hope that you enjoyed your time with us this afternoon, and that you will come back. George Barrett, you're riding home with me. Congratulations. Jack, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. We'll miss you. If there's nothing else for the good of Rotary, then we are adjourned.
No problem. Enjoyed it.